Hello guys, welcome back once again to another one of my recorded PowerPoint discussions for the subject MEFC 1403 entitled Fluid Machineries, where our featured topic for today is about one of the most common example type of fluid machinery that could not all be found in the industrial or power plant industry, but one that could also be found right in our very own homes. So, ang featured topic natin for today is about the so-called pumps. So, at the conclusion of this PowerPoint presentation, you, the student, is expected to have a broader idea of what a pump is all about. So, ano na ba yung mga possible points of application or usages nito, yung mga classification ng pumps, and then yung mga corresponding examples niya falling under such classification. Then, sa citing natin dito yung mga corresponding advantages and then disadvantages, and then yung corresponding parts of such pumps that might fall under such classification. So, bago tayo mag-start sa ating discussion, let us first have a look at the different types of pumps that are commonly found in the market. So, tingnan natin one by one yung mga pumps na sinasabi ko. So, first one is we have the so-called pitcher pump. So, tinatawag siyang pitcher pump kasi nga basically yung pinaka-body niya resembles that of a pitcher o tinutukoy nating pitchel. So, another one is we have the so-called centrifugal pump, which is by far the most popular and then most common type of pump that is used in any type of industry. So later, papaliwanag ko yung mga possible reasons kung bakit siya yung pinaka-most popular and the pinaka-most common type of pump. Then another type of pump that could be found in any residential or commercial applications is the so-called jet pump that is used typically in any jetmatic water systems na ginagamit natin usually sa bahay. So, another is yung tinutukoy nating reciprocating pump na dahil sa kanyang sheer size or sheer volume, sa sobrang laki niya, it is only to be found in the industrial or power plant industry. Then, we have the so-called mixed flow pump, an axial flow pump, a submersible pump na usually ginagamit natin para mag-subside yung isang flood-prone area. Then, we have the so-called multi-stage centrifugal pump, which is just a variation of the centrifugal pump. And then we have variations of a rotary pump. Now, depending upon the kind of working element that could be found in the inside, which could be a pair of screws, a pair of external gears, a sliding vane, or a pair of external and then that of an external gear. So, ito yung mga tinutukoy nating rotary pumps. So, in all, the pumps that are actually being shown, their classification is totally dependent upon the type of motion upon which their working internal element inside is actually acting or moving. So, ano ba yung tinutukoy natin pumps? So again, as what was mentioned in our previous discussions, pumps are considered to be machines or devices that are used to handle liquids. So based upon history, yung pumps are considered to be one of the earliest inventions as evidenced by the so-called Archimedes screw, which was used by ancient Egyptians in moving liquids from canals by moving a very large screw that is actually enclosed in a cylinder. So, yung pumps are considered to be one of man's oldest aids. So, it only ranks second to the electric motor and then that of the internal combustion engine as the most commonly used device or machine. So, pumps are used to handle or convey or move liquids in whatever amounts. So, from a few liters or gallons up to billions upon billions of any types of liquid for a wide range of applications. So, ang pumps are considered to be workhorses. So, wala siyang kapaguran as they could be able to be operated non-stop, not only for a period of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 30 days a month, but be certain times that it could also be operated non-stop for a period of 5 to 6 months. So, bali, ang pahinga na lamang nila is yung tinatawag nating shutdown or itinutukoy nating preventive maintenance. Where after nito is i-operate na naman natin non-stop yung mga pumps natin and so on and so forth. So, bali pa ulit-ulit na lamang yung cycle. Again, as I have mentioned countless times, a pump is used only in instances where there is a need to move or convey liquids from a lower elevation into much higher elevation. So kung may instances na yung source natin manggagaling sa taas and then divert natin pababa, there is no need to make use of such device kasi kusa na lamang bababa yung tinutukoy nating liquid since it is being affected by the effects of gravity. Or gumagamit din tayo ng pump to fill a reservoir or tank at the soonest possible time dahil sa sobrang baba ng water or yung tutukoy nating liquid pressure. Pero ayun na nga, in most cases, gumagamit tayo ng pump kasi nga, ang source natin is located in a lower elevation and then need siya to be diverted into a much higher elevation or location. So, gaya nga ng sabi ko before, yung pump natin could not all be found in an industrial or power plant industry, but that they could also be found right in our very own homes. So, dapat ang natin tandaan is that for as long as there is a presence of liquid that is needed to be moved, a pump is always necessitated. So, yung liquid being mentioned could be any kind of liquid chemicals or highly flammable or volatile fuels such as jet fuel. So, pwede din siya yung tinutukoy nating slurry substances which is a combination of solid and then liquid such as cement mixture. Or high temperature liquids with temperature ranges or temperatures ranging from 1000 degree Fahrenheit and above. And then, pwede din natin siyang gamitin to move hazardous or poisonous liquids. So yung pumps natin are able to increase the pressure of the fluid or liquid by imparting or transferring energy onto the liquid via the kind of internal working element that a pump actually possess. So, bali hindi lamang namumove yung fluid in question, but also nadideliver nito yung fluid at the desired flow rate, kung gaano man karami or kakonti per unit time. And then that it could also be delivered at the desired pressure range. So, pwedeng high pressure range, intermediate pressure range, and then low pressure ranges. So, with all the cited traits or capabilities, ito basically yung reason as to why pumps are considered to be an indispensable kind of machine. So, dito meron tayong tinatawag na centrifugal pump. Dito naman, meron tayong tinatawag na reciprocating pump. And then last one, we have the so-called rotary pump. So again, the effect of most pumping devices, which should fall in any three of the pump classifications. So meron tayong tinatawag na dynamic or kinetic pumps. Then we have the so-called reciprocating pumps. Then last one, we have the so-called rotary pumps, is to be able to increase the pressure of the fluid. So kailangan natin increase yung pressure to be able to offset the effects of gravity. Kasi nga, yung liquid is considered to be a dense or heavy substance. So, dapat natin tandaan is that for as long as meron tayong pressure, it also follows na meron tayong ini-impart na force to be able to counter the effect of the weight of the fluid that is to be moved or to be handled. Now, to date, we have a wide variety or choices of pumps that are actually available in the market nowadays, catering to a specific need. So, meron tayong smaller capacity pumps like those that are being used in aquariums, and then pitcher pumps o yung tinatawag natin poso that is found in our backyards. And then we have the higher capacity ones, so with ranges from 100,000 gallons per minute. So, at varying suction heads. So, pag sinabi natin varying suction heads, pwede siyang pang mababaw or pang malalim. And then, varying discharge pressure from high to intermediate as well as low pressure ranges. So, sa dami ng tinutukoy nating pumps that are actually available in the market nowadays, ano-ano nga ba yung mga pump classifications na meron tayo? So, classification of pumps are actually based upon the internal mechanical configuration, and then specifically on how energy is actually being transferred onto the liquids. So, we have two pump classifications. So, first one, we have the so-called positive displacement type, and then we have the so-called dynamic or kinetic type. So, dito sa tinutukoy nating positive displacement type, dalawa yung magpo-fall under such classification. So meron tayong tinatawag na reciprocating pumps as well as rotary pumps. Whereas pagdating sa dynamic or kinetic, isa lamang yung mag-fall sa ganyang category. Pero meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 types or kinds. So, alamin natin na mas maigi yung mga na-mention na pump classifications. So, ano ba yung tinutukoy natin positive displacement type of pump? So, yung positive displacement type of pumps are pump types wherein energy is periodically being added to the liquid being contained or isolated, which is actually part or due to the setup of the rotating or reciprocating internal component that could be found on the inside. So, tinatawag silang positive displacement type of pump kasi nga there is isolation of the liquid which is eventually displaced or moved. So, yung positive displacement type of pumps actually offer a higher discharge pressure but at lower volume flow rates or discharge rates. So, this as compared to the other pump classification which is the dynamic or kinetic type of pumps. So, a reciprocating pump is one of the two types of pumps falling under such classification. So, it is considered to be a positive displacement type of pumps that actually traps a fixed volume of fluid inside the pump casing and then physically moves such fluid in a back and forth or reciprocating motion, which normally could be in the form of a piston or that of a plunger. So, sa reciprocating pumps, we not only have 2 but 3 pump examples falling under such category. So, yung mga na-mention natin kanina was the so-called piston pumps, the so-called plunger pumps, and then we have the so-called diaphragm pumps. So, yung piston natin, basically, maliit lamang yung size. So, yung plunger is very similar dito sa tinutukoy nating piston, except the fact na mas malaki yung kanyang corresponding size. So, yung piston and then plunger pumps basically have a rigid or hard working element. Unlike yung tinutukoy nating diaphragm pump, kung saan yung pinaka-working element niya is actually made from a flexible type of material. So, sa working principle naman ito, which involves the forward and then backward motion of the working element, so unahin muna natin yung forward motion. As the element moves away from the suction bulb, it actually creates a vacuum. So, hihigop siya, itinutukoy natin negative pressure, sucking in or allowing fluid to be able to move inside the chamber. So, sa backward motion naman, as the element moves towards the so-called discharge bulb, yung fluid natin is eventually pushed or discharged outside the chamber. So, yung process natin dito is actually repeated over and over again for as long as the prime mover, which is normally an internal combustion engine, is actually operating. Now, to have a better understanding of how such pump type is to be able to operate, we have here a working animation of either a piston or plunger pump as well as that of a diaphragm pump, showing how a fluid is to be able to enter and eventually go out of the cylinder or that of the chamber. So, cite lang natin yung mga corresponding differences between a piston and then that of a plunger pump. So, kanina, it was mentioned that yung difference ng piston as compared to sa plunger type is in terms of ring sizing. So, sa piston type, mas maliit yung kanyang corresponding size. Thus, it has a lesser rubbing or contacting area. So, yung plunger type naman, mas malaki. Thus, it has a higher rubbing or contacting area. Technically, it gives off a positive kind of pressure. So another one is that as for the piston type, it is only used for low pressure applications light duty or intermittent service. So pag sinabi nating intermittent service, hindi siya continuous service or continuous operation, rather on and off operation. So sabihin, may times na operate, may times na hindi. So as for the plunger type, it is actually used for high pressure applications, meaning for heavy duty applications, and then for continuous service. Kasi nga matagal mupudpod o may erode o magasgas yung tinutukoy nating contacting or rubbing area. So another difference is that basically, since mas maliit yung piston type natin, it actually makes use of a lesser volume of material. Thus, it is considered to be less expensive than the plunger types. So dito naman sa plunger type, mas malaki yung volume na material na ginagamit. Thus, it is actually more expensive than the piston type. So last one is that since maliit lamang yung size ng ating pinaka-piston, it cannot be able to handle gritty liquids. Kasi nga in the long run, hindi siya tatagal, may erode o magagasgas fully tinutukoy nating working element in the form of a piston. So dito naman sa tinutukoy nating plunger type, dahil mas malaki yung kanyang corresponding size, mas malaki yung kanyang contacting area, mas matagal siya mapudpod, thus it is actually suitable for gritty or solid laden liquids. So, ano-ano ba yung mga typical parts of a reciprocating pump? So, one is that yung main working element niya, which could either be a piston or that of the plunger. So, nagmo-move siya in a forward-backward motion or reciprocating motion. So, two is meron tayong tinatawag na connecting rod, which then transmits the reciprocating motion coming from the crank cam assembly. Then 3, meron tayong tinatawag na suction valve, which allows the fluid to be able to enter the pump chamber or that of the cylinder during the suction stroke. So, at the time of the discharge stroke, ay sarado itong tinutukoy nating suction valve. Then 4 is meron tayong tinatawag naman na discharge valve. So, sa discharge valve naman, it allows the fluid to be able to be discharged outside during the discharge stroke. So, technically, ito naman tinutukoy nating discharge valve is actually sarado during the suction stroke. So 5 is the so-called cylinder, which is considered to be an enclosure or chamber that allows the reciprocating motion of either the piston or that of the plunger from taking place. So 6 is meron tayong tinatawag na check valves. So yung check valves is actually necessitated for it actually controls the direction of the flow. Then 7 and then last one is kailangan natin ng prime mover. So this one actually provides the motion on the part of the piston or plunger pump, which could either be an electric motor or an internal combustion engine. Pero of the two kinds of prime mover between an electric motor and then internal combustion engine, mas common yung tinutukoy natin internal combustion engine as the source of motion in the case of a reciprocating type of pump. So as for the advantages of a reciprocating pump, we have 3 distinct advantages. So one is that it is ideal for applications requiring a higher pressure or higher discharge pressure. So number 2 is that as it is able to discharge fluid at high pressure, the same goes with its suction pressure, as it is also able to generate a higher vacuum pressure. So such pumps are used for high head applications, so meaning pang malaliman yung source nito. So third and then last one is that such pumps are considered to be self-priming. So upon operation, the set pump is able to deliver fluid at the soonest possible time, even without the aid or use of any additional mechanical device to help in the so-called pump priming or pump conditioning. So, doon naman tayo sa tutukoy nating disadvantages. Ito yung mga cited negative attributes sa kanya. So, one is yung flow niya is considered to be pulsating. So, pupugak-pugak siya, meaning that the flow is not continuous. So, it requires pulsation dampeners for very sensitive applications to be able to correct this flow. So, 2 naman is that it is only suitable for low flow rates o low rate of discharges. So, 3 is dahil yung internal configuration niya has very small pockets or clearances inside, hindi siya advisable to be used for solid laden or abrasive laden liquids since merong possibility na mag-accumulate siya dito sa mga nabanggit na small pockets or spaces. So 4 naman, as compared to other pump types, they are actually more expensive due to its complicated design and that it actually requires a larger floor space for mounting. So 5 naman is during operation, malakas din yung tinutukoy itong vibration as well as noise. Then 6 is that it requires a higher or complicated maintenance due to the numerous moving parts that are actually subjected to higher pressures. So if a question arises as to why reciprocating pumps are not advisable for household applications, ito yung mga cited or possible reasons. So 1, masyado mataas yung tinutukoy nating discharge pressure. So another is that it requires a larger mounting space. Then masyado siyang mahal, noisy, and then meron siyang vibrating characteristics which could disrupt the household and then complicated yung kanyang maintenance. So this actually requires a highly trained individual. Now, the other pump that falls under the positive displacement type of pump is the so-called rotary pump. So ito naman makes use of a pair of rotating or meshing element which could be of the same or indifferent element. So again, tinatawag siyang positive displacement type because there is a fixed volume of fluid that is actually trapped inside the pump casing and then displaced by the rotation of its working element. So this actually allows rotary pumps ideal for applications requiring precise control or constant flow rate. So another is that rotary pumps are versatile in that they could be used for viscous, solid laden, and sensitive media or fluids evenly without any case of pulsation. So review lang tayo ng ating mga discussion. So sa reciprocating, it is characterized by the forward-backward motion of its main working element inside. So dito naman sa part ng rotary, it is characterized by the rotation of the pair of working element inside. So in both cases, meron tayong enough clearance sa loob ng pump casing para i-allow natin yung movement ng mga internal working elements nila. So small enough para ma-prevent natin possible friction and then loss of pressure inside. In terms of parts naman, a rotary pump typically has the following parts. So 1, meron siyang tinatawag na housing o yung tinutukoy nating fixed casing that actually houses or encloses the rotating meshing parts. So 2, meron tayong tinatawag na rotors. So the main working element which could be the same or indifferent element that creates packets for fluid entrapment and eventual transfer. Then, yung rotor niya, o yung parang pinaka-impeller niya, could be gears, vanes, screws, lobes, as well as other kind of elements. So, 3 is, meron tayong tinatawag na seal. So, it actually ensures that there is minimal leakage between the rotating and then stationary parts. And then, we have the so-called inlet and then outlet ports. So, which actually serves as the passageway for the entry and then eventual exit of the fluid that is actually being handled by the rotary pump. So as for the pros and then cons of a rotary pump, here are the cited advantages. So 1, like reciprocating pumps, rotary pumps are also considered to be self-priming in that they are able to discharge of liquid at the soonest possible time without prior need of fluid filling of the housing na tinatawag nating priming. So 2, unlike reciprocating pumps, rotary pumps have a very simple and then compact design. So meaning it only requires minimal mounting space and thus are easier to repair and then maintain. Now as for the cited disadvantages, such design requires tight clearances between the rotors and then housing, which could eventually lead to possible wear and then tear over time, eventually leading to a loss in terms of overall efficiency. So number 2 naman is that such pumps are not designed for high-speed applications, as it could eventually cause again wear and tear on the part of the rotors. So 3, like reciprocating pumps, they too are considered to be noisy during operation and actually require some soundproofing measures in some applications. So 4 naman, there are certain types which are not suitable for solid laden or abrasive liquids. 5 is that it has the second lowest discharge pressure of the pump kinds, with the reciprocating pump being the highest, and then isa pa na hindi ko pa na-mention, yung centrifugal pump being the lowest. So lastly, similar to centrifugal pumps, yung tinutukoy natin yung rotary pumps are susceptible to cavitation. So yung cavitation is considered to be a undesired or destructive phenomena where there is formation and then eventual collapse of vapor bubbles, which could possibly damage the rotors and then inside surface of the housing as well. Now, the last of the classification of the pumps is the so-called dynamic or kinetic type of pumps, which is by far the most common type of pump and then most popular type of pump available in the market. So, karamihan kasi dito is makikita natin sa ating mga households. So, a dynamic or kinetic pump is a pump type wherein energy is continuously being added to increase the speed or velocity of the fluid that is actually being handled. Hence the term kinetic, mainly because of its main working element, which is what we call the impeller. So dito sa tinutukoy nating dynamic or kinetic pumps, meron tayong tinatawag na centrifugal pump, meron tayong tinatawag na axial flow pumps, a mixed flow pump, and then another is we have the so-called jet pump, and then the so-called submersible pump. So dito no, yung fluid o yung liquid natin could be able to enter such pump casing without any possible delays or interruptions. So bakit? Kasi nga walang humaharang. There is continuous passageway from the side. Hence, there is continuous energy importations or transfer of energy, which is again by the so-called rotating element in the form of what we call an impeller. So tingnan natin one by one. So papasok siya dito, mula dito sa side na to, palabas without much delays or interruptions. So same din dito sa tinutukoy nating axial flow, papasok, magsuswirl before siya being diverted dito to the vertical. So ganun din dito sa mixed flow type of pump. So papasok siya, magsuswirl, and then divert natin to the other side. So sa jet pump naman, ganun din. So, papasok siya dito, magre-revolve siya radially before being discharged radially ulit on the other side. Then, we have the so-called submersible pump. So, mula dito sa pinaka-base or bottom niya, papasok siya, magsuswirl siya along the so-called impellers bago siya ma-divert to the other side or other end. So, ayan. So, review tayo so far. Kung matatandaan nyo, sa reciprocating, it is characterized by the forward-backward motion of its piston, plunger, or diaphragm, whereas sa rotary naman, it is characterized by the rotary motion of the pair of meshing or rotating element, which again could be vanes, gears, screws, lobes, etc. So, in both pump types, lumalabas na yung fluid is trapped and then moved by the working element inside, hence the term positive displacement type. So, hindi makakagalaw o makapagta-transfer ng energy unless the working elements inside are to be able to move due mainly to the part configuration inside. So, dito, sa case na tinutukoy natin dynamic or kinetic, wala masyadong interruptions kasi nga halos dire-diretso yung passageway niya. So, sa axial fans, yung flow pattern natin, as the name implies, is done axially. So, pag sinabi nating axial, diretso, or along the axis of the pipeline. Yung pipeline being considered as the conduit or passageway for the so-called pumps. Now, on the other hand, dito sa tinutukoy nating mixed flow pumps, Ang flow pattern naman natin is done by a combination of two flow patterns. So una, actual yung flow pattern niya, diretso, and then bago i-divert siya radially. So lastly, sa case naman ng tinutukoy natin jet pumps, submersible pumps as well as centrifugal pumps, yung flow pattern natin inside or involved is done at right angles na tinatawag nating radial flow. And so babato siya actually, and then babato siya at right angles. Yan. Now, as for the pumps falling under this category, yung tinutukoy nating dynamic or kinetic type of pumps, meron tayong three kinds. Namely, we have the so-called axial pumps, then we have the so-called mixed flow pumps, and then third and last one is we have the so-called radial flow pumps. So, unahin muna natin yung axial pumps. So, dito sa tinutukoy nating axial pumps, yung fluid to be conveyed or moved is moved parallel to the pump shaft. Tapos yung impeller natin dito is similar to the propeller of boats or sa mismong impeller or propeller ng isang electric fan, which is technically ito. Now, itong type na to provides a high volume flow rate or yung tinutukoy nating rate of discharge. So, in terms of design, very simple siya. Thus, simple din yung kanyang corresponding maintenance. So, ang downside lamang nito is that hindi siya suitable for high head applications. So meaning, pang mababaw lang yung source niya. And another drawback is that it needs priming or pump conditioning, or iba pang tawag is hindi siya self-priming. Now, for axial pumps, its point of application include flood control, irrigation, cooling systems for water circulation, or scenarios requiring high volume flow rates or pangmalaki ang volume of fluids involved. So next is yung tinutukoy nating mixed flow pumps. So where the fluid is to enter a different axis before being discharged into another axis. So sabihin, same plane pero magkaiba ng axis. So more than one possible direction. So, para siyang at right angles pero horizontal. So, ito yung tinutukoy niyang propeller profile, which is technically quite different do sa ginagamit natin sa tinutukoy nating axial flow pumps. So, capability-wise, it provides a medium rate of discharge or volume flow rate, and then it is suitable for medium head application. So, meaning, hindi pang malalim or hindi din siya pang mababaw na source. Now, as compared to axial and then radial pumps, medyo complicated yung kanyang build or design. And then another is that it is not considered to be a self-priming type of pump. So, for its application, it is actually used for storm water management, agricultural irrigation, and then water supply systems, or for applications requiring a balance between volume flow rates and then head applications. Now, the last kind of dynamic or kinetic pump according to the type of flow involved is the so-called radial flow pumps. So dito meron tayong tatlo. So meron tayong tinatawag na centrifugal pump, we have the so-called jet pump, and then last one is you have the so-called submersible pump. So, capability-wise, yung mga pump na to are able to provide a high volume flow rate, and then is considered to be the most widely used type of pump. So, another is that it is the most cost-effective type of pump. So, all radial flow pumps, such as jet pumps and then centrifugal pumps are considered to be not self-priming. So meaning itong jet pump saka centrifugal pump requires priming or additional device to jump start to its pumping in and then pumping out process. So yung tinutukoy nating radial flow pumps are mainly used for water supply applications, wastewater treatment applications, chemical processing applications, and then various industrial or manufacturing process applications. So, ano ba yung tinutukoy nating submersible pump? So, as the name implies, are pumps that are directly submerged into the fluid source itself. So, at times, ang tawag sa kanya is what we call a vertical or turbine pump, mainly because of the orientation of the impellers mounted on the rotating shaft to where they are to be mounted. So, tinatawag siyang turbine pump din, mainly because mukha siyang turbina. Pero instead na siya is mounted horizontally, ang mounting niya is mounted vertically. So, they find great use in flood water mitigation or drainage applications and then groundwater extraction. Now, sa klase ng radial pumps, ito lamang yung hindi nire-require ng priming or pump conditioning. Bakit? Kasi nga, yung mismong pump o yung pinaka-impeller niya themselves are in direct contact with the fluid source. So, sabihin, diretsong higop na ang gagawin niya and then eventually, ibubuga na lamang siya. So, as all dynamic or kinetic types of pumps are considered to be high-speed devices, yung prime mover niya is either an electric motor or gasoline engine, which could also be submerged and then enclosed or elevated from the water level depending upon the pump setup. So, doon naman tayo sa second kind of radial pumps is the so-called jet pump, which are commonly found in jetmatic water applications or systems in household services. So, tinatawag din siyang hydraulic lift pumps that works on the principle of fluid dynamics using a Venturi meter or Venturi nozzle. So, sa Venturi, as water is being accelerated and then discharged through a Venturi nozzle, it eventually causes a drop in pressure, more commonly known as vacuum or negative pressure. So, yung madidevelop nating vacuum or negative pressure is used to draw in fluid from a suction pipe and then draw out such fluid through a discharge pipe. So, jet pumps are not self-priming. Again, kung hindi siya self-priming, it requires priming. So, that fluid could be sucked in and then discharged out in the least possible amount of time. So, ang jet pumps finds great use in household water applications and then irrigation purposes. Now, we have two types of jet pump applications, which is totally dependent upon the depth of water source. So, meron tayong tinatawag na shallow well, and then we also have the so-called deep well. So, kapag mababaw, no, we have the so-called shallow well, whose water depth is up to 25 feet. So, mainly used for residential water applications and for irrigation purposes. No, pagka malalim naman siya, at tinatawag natin siyang deep well installation. So, we make use of deep well installations involving water depths of as much as 150 feet. So, mainly ginagamit natin siya for larger properties and for commercial applications. Now, last of the so-called radial pumps is yung tinutukoy nating centrifugal pump. So, itong pump na to is by far considered to be the most popular and then most commonly used type of pump available in the market. So, dito, no, yung fluid natin is made to enter actually along the pipeline via the so-called eye of the impeller. So, ito, butas na to, ito yung tinutukoy nating eye of the impeller para siyang eye socket. So, before yung pinaka-fluid natin is discharged radially outwards o outside. So, dito, it is marked by an increase in speed or velocity. So, yung pagtaas ng speed ng fluid natin is partly because of the high-speed revolving impeller. Now, as the fluid is actually contained within the pump casing, yung high speed of the fluid is eventually converted into a high pressure. So, centrifugal pumps are for low to medium head applications. Again, meaning mababaw hanggang sa hindi kalaliman na source. And among all the pump kinds, it actually provides the highest rate of discharge, which is what we also call as the volume flow rate. So marami yung nilalabas niya. And then, ang downside nito is that it has a lower discharge pressure and then a not self-priming type of pump. So, yung low discharge pressure saka yung not self-priming, pwede naman natin siyang i-correct. So, in basically yung reason kung bakit yung pinaka-pump natin na tinutukoy natin centrifugal pump is by far the most popular and then most commonly used type of pump available in the market. Except that kung meron kayo application requiring high pressure, hindi natin pwedeng gamitan ng centrifugal pump. So, again, ano ba yung tinutukoy nating self-priming? So, yung self-priming is a common term when there are discussions regarding pumps. So, self-priming is a term in which a pump is able to draw in and then draw out fluid or liquid effortlessly even without the aid of any additional setups or devices to take care of priming. So, yung priming is also what we call pump conditioning. So, kinocondition natin yung pump para mapag-discharge siya ng liquid at as soon as possible time na walang kahirap-hirap. So, typically, a centrifugal pump, which is considered to be a non-self-priming pump or non-priming pump, is usually fitted with a foot valve at the suction line. Or meron tayong mga cases kung saan gumagamit tayo ng mga certain setups to take care of priming. So, ang problema kasi natin dito usually is merong hangin. So, para mawala yung hangin, isang way natin dito is meron tayong tinatawag na inlet port dito sa mismo pinaka centrifugal pump casing. So, once i-open natin yung pinaka inlet port, pupunuin natin liquid yung pinaka-inside niya. So, once mapuno natin ng liquid yung pinaka-inside niya, eventually, mas madali tayo mapag-generate na tinatawag natin vacuum or negative pressure. So, meaning, as soon as the pump is operated, it could be able to draw in and then draw out liquid at the soonest possible time effortlessly nang walang masyadong kahirap-hirap. So again, as what was mentioned a while back, yung kinetic energy that is being given off by the high-speed revolving impeller is eventually transferred onto the fluid being handled. So eventually, yung tinutukoy nating kinetic energy is subsequently converted into what we call pressure energy at the point of discharge. Yung nga lang, no, yung pinaka-drawback na tinutukoy nating centrifugal pump is yung kanyang lower discharge pressure. Pero yung lower discharge pressure niya can somehow be alleviated or remedied. So, meron tayong at least two possible ways. So, una is pwede tayong gumamit ng multi-stage impeller system na kung titingnan natin sa picture compared to a typical centrifugal pump, mas malapad yung kanyang pinaka-body. So, mas malapad yung body, mas maraming impeller. So, ano yung reason bakit gumagamit tayo ng maraming impeller? Kasi ang notion natin or thinking natin is habang dumadami impeller is lalo bumibilis yung tinutukoy nating liquid. However, hindi ganun yung maging possible case. So dito, no, we have here an illustration of the cross-section of a multi-stage impeller. So makikita natin dito, we have 1, 2, and then 3. 3 impellers. So, una is papasok yung tinutukoy nating liquid possessing low pressure. So, papasok siya dito sa pinaka-inlet niya. And then, babaybayin niya yung mismo passageway dito sa tinutukoy natin mga impellers. So, upon exit, yung liquid natin eventually possesses a higher discharge pressure. So, paano nangyari to? So, to explain this concept, kinakailangan natin intindihin yung tinutukoy natin Bernoulli's fluid flow concept. So sabi dito, in areas where there's high speed on the part of the moving fluid, it is characterized by a lower pressure and then vice versa. So kapag mabilis daw yung speed na isang fluid, eventually mababa yung kanyang pressure. So sa mga katuwid, base dito sa statement to, sa concept na to, kung i-reverse natin, as in, pababagalin natin yung speed ng pinaka-liquid natin, somehow, yung low pressure characteristic niya maging high pressure. So, ang idea natin dito is increasing the number of passageways also increases friction. So, technically, habang tumataas yung friction, bumabagal yung speed. So, eventually, along the way, na-modify na natin yung tinutukoy nating discharge pressure. Now, other than making use of a multi-stage centrifugal pump or multiple impeller, there is another way or means to correct the lower discharge pressure provided by a typical centrifugal pump, which is by the use of a special type of casing. Ito nga yung tinutukoy nating diffuser type of casing. So, bali meron tayong tatlong klase ng pump casing. So, yung pinaka-common is meron tayong tinatawag na volute type of casing. Second one is yung dinidiscuss ko nga, we have the so-called diffuser type of casing. Then last one is you have the so-called vortex casing. So dito, sa tinutukoy nating diffuser type of casing, lumalabas na meron tayo ditong dalawang portion. Yung green na to, ito yung tinutukoy nating high-speed rotating impeller. Yung green portion naman, ito yung tinutukoy nating fixed vanes. So yung vane direction niya is in the opposite side compared to the vanes of the rotating impeller. So ang idea natin dito is bakit siya done in an opposite direction or opposite manner. So ang idea natin dito is to somehow slow down the speed. Kasi nga, base nga daw doon sa sinasabi ni Bernoulli's fluid flow concept, pag napapabagal natin o nadidiffuse natin yung speed ng moving fluid, yung corresponding pressure characteristic niya tumataas. So, in that, slowing down the speed of a moving fluid is actually characterized by a higher pressure region. Thus, we have a higher discharge pressure. So, other kinds of centrifugal pump casing, we have the so-called volute casing and then vortex casing. So, yung tinutukoy nating volute casing, ito yung pinaka most common or typical kung saan mababa nga yung discharge pressures involved. Kasi nga, yung fluid speed involved inside is not modified in any way. So, sabihin, dahil nga mabilis yung ikot ng tinutukoy nating rotating impeller, eventually, nare-receive ng pinaka-liquid natin yung high speed niya. So, in the end, high speed ngayon yung liquid. So, since high speed yung liquid natin, lumalabas, mababa yung tinutukoy nating discharge pressure. So last naman is we have the so-called vortex casing. So like yung volute and then diffuser type of casing, it also has a spiral shaped body. So nagkakatalo na lang to sila for what can be seen on the inside. So dito sa tinutukoy nating vortex casing, meron tayong circular chamber as characterized by the imaginary circle na makikita natin in between the casing, ito yung casing natin, and then that of the impeller. So, ang main purpose ng pinaka-chamber natin dito, itong imaginary circle natin, is to reduce yung tinutukoy nating eddy formation. So, sa eddy formation kasi, meron siyang kind of flow that is characterized by backflow or opposite flow. So, pag nami-minimize natin yung eddy formation, it actually translates into a smoother flow. Thus, kung smoother flow, it helps improve overall pump performance. So, eventually, tumataas din yung kanyang pump efficiency. Now, moving on to the very last part of our discussion are the typical parts that are to be found within a centrifugal pump. So, ito yung pinakaloob ng centrifugal pump. So, ang goal natin dito is magkaroon kayong familiarity doon sa mga corresponding parts that are to be found inside the so-called centrifugal pump. So, ano-ano nga ba yung typical parts ng isang centrifugal pump? So, one is meron tayong tinatawag na impeller. So, review tayo so far ng discussion natin. Kung sa reciprocating pump, meron tayong tinatawag na piston or plunger or diaphragm. And then, meron naman tayong rotors sa case ng rotary pumps. Sa case naman ng centrifugal pumps, which actually falls sa dynamic or kinetic types of pump, meron tayong tinatawag na impeller. So, ano ba yung impeller? So, ang impeller is what we call the high-speed rotating part kung saan nanggagaling yung high-speed or high-velocity characteristics ng fluid that is actually being handled inside such pump. So, sa impeller ng isang centrifugal pump, meron tayong tatlong klase. So, meron tayong tinatawag na open type. So, sa open type, it has vanes attached to a central hub. Ito yung vanes natin, para siyang paddle-like portion. So, which is connected by relatively small shrouds at the base. So, ito shroud to. So, hindi buo yung shroud natin. So, yung paddle-like portion natin, which is what we call the base, is actually connected dito sa mismo tinatawag nating central hub by means of this shroud, kung saan partial lamang siya. So, another is we have the so-called semi-open type. So, pares ng open type, yung semi-open type, except in the fact that yung shroud natin dito is actually a full plate. Unlike dito, hindi siya buo. So, partial, ito naman is full shroud. So, lastly is we have the so-called closed type of impeller. So, this one actually have vanes that are actually sandwiched in between two shrouds or plate with the central hub at the middle. So, ito yung tinutukoy nating vanes. And then, ito yung tinutukoy nating shroud. So, yung shroud natin dito are actually full, para siyang plato. Yan. Tapos, ito naman tinutukoy nating hub. Hub to, as well as ito is hub. So, yung C is considered to be a single suction closed type of impeller. So, ibig sabihin is meron lamang siyang single passage of fluid characterized by a shorter shaft at one side. So, yung D naman na makikita natin dito, so, ang tawag naman natin dito is what we call a double suction closed type of impeller, which is characterized by 2 entry points of the fluid, and then meron tayong makikitang dalawang shaft portions o isang buong shaft located at the middle. Now, for awareness purposes, shown here are examples of centrifugal pumps with varying impellers. So, mostly either semi-open o closed type impellers lang yung cited examples natin. So, ito is making use of closed type of impeller. This one naman makes use of semi-open type of impeller. And this one makes use of closed type of impeller. Ito naman actually makes use of a semi-open type of impeller. So, next centrifugal pump part is the so-called impeller nut. So, as the shaft impeller assembly is to rotate at high speeds, merong possibility na ma-dislodge yung pinaka-impeller na sa pagkakamount doon sa tinutukoy nating shafting. So, kinakailangan natin i-secure properly yung impeller doon sa tinutukoy nating shafting. So, para ma-secure natin properly yung tinutukoy nating impeller doon sa tinutukoy nating shafting, gumagamit tayo ng tinatawag nating impeller nut. So, ang impeller nut is fastened to the external threads located at the tip of the shafting. So, ito yung tinutukoy nating impeller nut, impeller, ito yung shafting. So, para ma-secure natin properly itong speed revolving or moving impeller properly dito sa tinutukoy nating speed rotating shafting, kinakailangan gumamit tayo ng impeller nut. So, next part naman natin is the casing. So, which could be a multi-stage impeller casing, a volute type of casing, a diffuser type of casing, or even a vortex type of casing. So, ito yung part that actually encloses the impeller or impellers, and one that actually gives direction to the flow, which happens to also convert the kinetic energy of the fluid into pressure energy. So, meron tayong dalawang split types of casing. So, una, meron tayong tinatawag na vertical split type of casing. So, yung hati niya is done vertically. So, ginagamit natin siya for either a single suction closed type of closed type, open type, or semi-open type of impeller. Whereas ito naman tinutukoy nating horizontal split type of casing is specifically for a double suction closed type of impeller. So, ito yung tinutukoy nating casing niya. Yan. Also, a multi-stage centrifugal pump makes use of a horizontal split type of casing. So, bakit horizontal? Bakit hindi vertical? So, ang concern kasi natin dito is ganito. Kung kinakailangan nating i-pull out yung tinutukoy nating impeller, mas madali natin siyang ipo-pull out going to that instead of ipo-pull out natin siya horizontally. Kasi kung hihilayin natin siya sideways, meron tendency na magkaroon ng damage yung pinaka-impeller natin. So, dito naman, on the other hand, meanwhile, a volute diffuser and then vortex type of casing also makes use of a vertical split type of casing. Yan. So, dahil hindi naman kahabaan yung tinutukoy nating impeller as compared dito sa isang multi-stage impeller system, it is actually advisable na gumamit tayo ng vertical split type of casing rather than making use of horizontal split type of casing. So, isa pang centrifugal pump part is the so-called shafting. So, ang shafting is considered to be a power transmitting element that actually transmits mechanical work coming from the prime mover to the rapidly moving impeller. So, ito is actually made from corrosion and then wear-resistant type of material with stainless steel normally being used. And then, kung titingnan natin configuration natin dito, hindi common yung kanyang cross-section. So, sabihin, hindi pantay-pantay yung corresponding diameter. So, it has different cross-sectional diameters with certain grooves or portions where specific centrifugal pump parts are to be mounted, such as bearings, oil seals, as well as others. So, palatandaan lamang kung bakit hindi common yung pinang cross-section ng shafting natin. Now, as a properly working shaft are considered to be quite important or integral to the safe and then efficient working condition of a centrifugal pump, care must be exerted onto the shaft at all times. So, if a shaft had been damaged or worn out due to erosion and then cavitation as well as other debilitating conditions, pwede pa rin natin siyang gamitin. So, paano? So, meron tayong tinatawag na rebuilding process o rebuilding condition. So, dito, i-weld natin evenly yung buong surface ng pinaka-shafting natin. So, upon welding o filling yung pinaka-surface natin ng welds, eventually, i-require naman natin siya na gamitan ng isang lathe machine. So, yung lathe machine naman is i-lathe machine natin siya o i-trim natin siya according to its original dimensions or specifications. So, after ng rebuilding process, hindi na ngayon mapapansin na luma na pala ito tinutukoy natin shafting. Ngayon, meron lang tayong isang concern pagdating sa isang rebuilding process. Dahil nagwe-weld tayo dito, which is considered to be a heat treatment process, ibig sabihin nun, nagkakaroon ng drawback yung tinutukoy nating shafting. Since yung shaft natin is actually made from metal, and then nag-undergo siya ng numerous heat treatment process o tinutukoy nating welding, ang tendency ng pinaka-metal natin is actually nagiging brittle siya. So, kung mag-undergo siya ng rebuilding process, it is advisable na maximum of 3 to 4 times kasi eventually, magiging brittle na yung shafting natin. So, next one is meron tayong tinatawag na shaft sleeve. So, yung shaft sleeve na to, pinapasok natin siya doon sa tinutukoy nating shafting. So, ito ay isa sa 4 na possible sacrificial centrifugal pump parts that could be found in a centrifugal pump. So, yung part na to actually protects the shaft from possible erosion, corrosion, and then wear during pump operation. So, para siyang cut portions of a pipe or that of a tube that fits snugly. So, pag sinabi natin snugly, sakto lang, not too loose and then not too tight with with respect to sa pump shaft natin. So, ito is actually made from materials that are considered to be compatible with respect sa pump shaft, pero in terms of material strength, mas mahina siya. Kasi ang goal natin dito is hindi natin haya masira completely yung pump shaft, rather kinakailangan maprotektahan natin to. So instead na masira directly yung pump shaft, ang unang sisirain dito is yung tinutukoy nating shaft sleeve. So para mas masira yung shaft sleeve agad compared sa tinutukoy nating pump shaft, dapat mas malambot o hindi ganong katibay yung materials natin na gagamitin dito sa tinutukoy nating shaft sleeve as compared to the materials na gagamitin natin dito sa tinutukoy nating shafting. Now, we have cases wherein the presence of shaft sleeve, so ito tinutukoy nating shaft sleeve, cease to exist. So, may mga cases na hindi tayo gumagamit ng shaft sleeve. So, supposedly, gumagamit tayo ng packing to throttle yung leak. Pag sinabing to throttle is to control. Kung gagamit tayo ng packing as a means of controlling the leak within the pumps, gagamit tayo ng shaft sleeve. However, in case na hindi tayo gumagamit ng packing to control o to throttle yung leak at instead gumagamit tayo ng mechanical seal, hindi na tayo gumagamit ng tinatawag nating shaft sleeve. So, yun yung particular requirement. So, merong shaft sleeve kung merong packing, walang shaft sleeve kung wala tayong packing at instead meron tayong mechanical seal. So, next naman is we have the so-called shaft key, which is considered to be another sacrificial centrifugal pump part. So, ito is considered to be a fastening device other than yung tinutukoy nating impeller to make sure that the impeller is rigidly connected to the shafting. So, meron tayong makikitang grooves dito on the part of the impeller. And then, meron din ditong grooves na makikita on the part of the shaft. Kung saan, pag connect natin yung impeller sa shafting, isang buong slot na ngayon. So, yung slot na to, doon natin i-connect yung tinutukoy nating shaft key. So, marami tayong klase or shapes ng key. Though, yung karaniwan natin ginagamit nating key dito usually has a square or rectangular cross section. And then, since ito is considered to be a sacrificial part, again, it is made from a less stronger material. Next is we have the so-called stuffing box. So, titingnan natin dito, asan dito yung stuffing box. So, define muna natin yung stuffing box. So, stuffing box is used as a means of throttling or controlling the fluid or that of the liquid being handled by the pump. So, kung titingnan natin configuration, ito yung tinutukoy nating stuffing box. So, hindi siya literal na box as in meron siyang kanto. Rather, kaya siya tinatawag na box is that it is not a separate part but is actually made up of a group of small details composed of the following. So, meron tayong tinatawag na packing. So, asan dito yung packing? So, ito yung packing. So, makikita natin both sides. And then, in between the packing, makikita natin yung seal gauge. And then, last one is, para ma-compress natin, ma-adjust natin yung corresponding pressure, gumagamit tayo ng tinatawag nating gland, which is ito. Yan. Or, kung wala man yung tatlong ito na makikita natin sa isang stuffing box, instead, makikita natin yung isang mechanical seal. So, ito yung tinutukoy nating stuffing box. So, ang stuffing box daw ay ginagamit natin to control or to throttle yung leak from taking place within the pump casing. So, bakit meron leak? So, tingnan natin. So, ito yung pump shaft. Ito yung stuffing box. Then, ito yung pinaka-frame, yung pinaka-pump natin. Then, ito yung tinutukoy nating impeller. So, since gumagamit tayo ng pump, ibig sabihin nun is nagja-generate tayo ng additional pressure. So, ibig sabihin, pinapressurize natin yung fluid natin being handled on the inside of the pump casing. Now, kung papasin natin, meron tayong small gaps or clearances. Ito din basically maging reason para mag-leak yung pinaka-inside ng pinaka-pump casing natin. So technically, kung hindi natin sasaraduhan ito o babarahan yan, magkakaroon tayong leaking on the inside of the pump casing dahil nga sa high pressure. Now, yung leaks being throttled o being controlled on the inside of the pump casing is hindi lamang isa, kundi dalawa. So, yung leaking natin could be air leaking into the pump casing. Supposedly, yung suction pressure natin is below atmospheric. So, ibig sabihin, mas mababa yung pressure natin from the inside, mas mataas yung pressure natin on the outside. So, technically, matatalo yung lesser pressure natin via dito sa greater pressure. So, technically, papasok yung hangin from the outside towards the inside. Or, the other one is, yung leaking natin could be liquid leaking from the casing. Supposedly, yung suction pressure naman natin is above atmospheric. Meaning, mas mataas yung pressure natin from the inside as compared to the pressure on the outside. So, in this case, again, mas mananig yung greater pressure region natin compared to the lower pressure region. So, eventually, magkakaroon tayo ng liquid leaking. So, ano ba yung downside? Ano ba yung negative effects ng mga leaks na to? So, air leaking into the pump casing affects pump performance, likely leading to what we call cavitation and eventually what we call hammering. So, dahil nagkaroon tayong bubble formation at tatamaan ng tinutukoy nating veins, yung tinutukoy nating bubbles, ang tendency nun is magre-release siya na certain amount of pressure from the inside. So, yung pressure nito is so great, so masyado siya mataas para eventually sirain natin yung pinaka-impeller. So, mas maintindihan natin yung tinatawag nating cavitation phenomena pagdating natin sa mismong topic nito. So, yung hammering naman is likely as a result ng tinutukoy nating vibration. So, ang worst possible case scenario natin dito is magkakaroon tayo ng impeller damage. So, pag nagkaroon tayo ng damage on the part of the impeller, eventually, pwedeng tumigil na lamang on its own o ng kusa yung pinaka-pump itself, or yung pinaka-minimal effect naman niya is eventually nababawasan naman yung kanyang pump efficiency kasi bumababa yung kanyang discharge output as compared to sa expected output. So, yung isang leak naman is liquid leaking from the pump casing. So, this one actually affects yung pump performance. In the case na yung expected output natin are not properly met. So, ibig sabihin, bumababa yung pinaka-efficiency ng pinaka-pump natin. As well as, syempre, kung babaha yung pinaka-vicinity ng pinaka-pump natin, ang pinaka-location natin, ibig sabihin to is magiging unsafe or magiging untidy yung pinaka-location natin for the technicians or for the working personnel to work on it personally. So, kung nagli-leak nga, yung tinutukoy natin pump, more so na mas matindi siya, supposedly kung ang kino-convey o hinandle natin liquid is actually corrosive or toxic. So, ibig sabihin nun is hindi na magiging workable. So, dangerous na siya para sa ating mga working technicians o personnel para mag-work dito sa location na to. So, next natin is we have the so-called packing. So, this is one out of 3 group of small details na makikita natin sa loob ng isang stuffing box. So, ito yung tinutukoy nating stuffing box na hindi mukhang box at ito naman yung tinutukoy nating packing. So, from its looks, ang packing natin is actually a fibrous material like a rope, pero instead of a circular cross-section, ang shape niya is actually square in terms of cross-section. So, siya kasi yung tatapal sa open space in between the rotating shaft and then the inside of the stationary stuffing box, thereby preventing leaks from taking place. So, kung insert natin yung packing, pero instead na square cross-section, ang shape niya is circular cross-section, hindi niya mababaraan o matatapalan ng buong-buo yung pinaka-space na paglalagay niya. So, yung packing natin, in terms of numbers, around 6 packings ang nilalagay natin. So, we have 3 packings per side. So, ito yung packings. So, titin natin, you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So, in between the so-called seal gauge na siya naman maglulubricate sa kanya. Ngayon, para hindi ma-dislodge o matanggal basta-basta itong packing natin, as well as seal gauge, in their current position, gumagamit tayo ng parang tensioner, which is what we call the gland or packing pusher. So, another group of small detail na makikita natin sa isang stuffing box is yung tinutukoy nating seal gauge, also known as water seal or lantern ring. So, kung titingnan natin, namamagitan siya doon sa dalawang side ng packing, thereby it is called as an intermediary piece between the packing materials that could be made from plastic or alloy materials. So, titingnan natin, merong groove and then merong holes. So, yung holes na to is necessary para eventually dito dumaan yung pinaka-lubricant natin para mabasa natin yung tinutukoy nating packing. So, kinakailangan natin babasa yung packing para ma-prevent natin yung possible overheating. Kasi pag nag-overheat yung packing, eventually, hindi na niya magagampanan yung kanyang desired purpose, which is to throttle yung leaks natin from taking place. So, kung titingnan natin, with only the packing nearest to the impeller, ito kasi impeller, so ito yung nababasa. So, kung hindi tayo maglalagay ng seal gauge at puro packing na lamang yan, ang tendency nito is, kung ano yung packing na malapit sa impeller, siya lamang yung unang-unang mababasa. At yung mas malayo sa kanya, malayo yung chances na siya is mabasa or mag-lubricate. So, yun din basically reason kung bakit maglalagay tayo ng seal gauge to properly distribute yung lubricating effect doon tinutukoy nating fluid being handled by the pump. So, siya yung mamamagitan, babasahin natin both sides na tinutukoy nating packing. So, tingnan natin specifically kung saan nakalagay yung tinutukoy nating seal gauge. Again, it is a pair of two parts with grooves and then holes that enhances liquid lubrication of the packing material. So, titingnan natin, sabi, nilulubricate daw yung packing material. So, pag lubrication kasi, ang pinag-uusapan natin, ang unang-una natin naisip is gumagamit tayo ng oil. So, however, kung oil ang gagamitin nating means para ma-lubricate natin yung packing material at ang hinahandle natin fluid within the pump is actually water or potable water, makakontaminate natin yung potable water. So, in this case, yung pang-lubricate natin on the part of the packing material is actually the very same fluid being handled by the pump para wala tayong issues regarding sa contamination. So, titingnan natin, ito yung tinutukoy nating stuffing box. And then, meron tayong bypass line dito. So, dito ngayon, papasok yung pinaka-fluid being handled by the pump na siya din mismo maglulubricate sa pinaka-packing na makikita natin from the inside. So, papasok siya, babasain, then eventually, ilalabas siya. And then, yung cycle natin repeats over and over once again. So, again, kung titingnan natin, kinakailangan meron tayong small gaps or clearances para hindi sumayad yung pinaka-impeller natin. So, ito din basically reason kung bakit magkakaroon tayo ng leak. So, kailangan tapalan natin sa baraduhan. So, meron tayong bypass line. So, ito yung tinutukoy nating packings which is to be located on either side. So, itong part of portion na to, dito natin ilalagay yung tinutukoy nating seal gauge. So, yung seal gauge na to, siya yung maglulubricate evenly ng packing natin dito sa side na to as well as on the other side na mas malayo dito sa pinaka-source ng pinaka-leaks natin. So, next naman natin is we have the so-called gland. So, another term is we have the so-called packing pusher. So, it is considered to be an adjustable cap, so which is tightened by means of bolts and then nuts. So, ito allows the packing pressure to be adjusted so that the leakage could be throttled or controlled properly. So, ano ba yung itsura ng gland? So, itong buong piece na to, as well as yung pinaka-bolts and then nut, ito yung tinutukoy nating gland. Otherwise known as what we call the packing pusher. So, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, in case na hindi natin makikita yung combination ng packing, seal gauge, as well as gland inside the stuffing box, so in replacement of the three, makikita natin isang mechanical seal. So, ang tanong would be, kailan tayo gumagamit ng mechanical seal at kailan tayo hindi kinakailangan gumamit ng mechanical seal? So, a mechanical seal is actually used in instances where the leaking of fluid to conveyed could no longer be tolerated or controlled. Or supposedly, yung cases naman na yung hinandle nating liquid or fluid is actually salt water or other corrosive laden liquids. Ang tendency kasi is masisira yung tinutukoy nating backing material in the long run kung ang i-handle nating substance is in the form of seawater or salt water as well as other types of liquids which are actually corrosive in nature. So, ano ba meron dito sa tinutukoy nating mechanical seal? So, a mechanical seal actually performs the very same function provided by the packing, seal gauge, and then gland sa hull. So, ito ay isang stuffing box part that actually takes care of in via mechanical means, which is why, kung titingnan natin, meron tayo dito makikita ring na papalit do sa purpose ng gland as well as packing pusher. And then, yung papalit naman sa tinutukoy nating packing is yung tinutukoy nating graphite ring material. So, kahit meron tayong direct contact of rotating parts, ay nami-minimize pa rin natin yung incidence ng friction kasi nga, ang pinalit natin dito sa packing is yung tinutukoy nating graphite material. So, yung graphite material kasi, kahit meron siyang direct contact, dahil talaga napaka-smooth ng kanyang finish, very minimal yung build-up ng tinutukoy nating friction. So, sabihin, walang possible overheating that might actually take place. So, next one is you have the so-called bearings. So, another important centrifugal pump part that is used to properly align the pump shaft as well as to carry on radial loads and then thrust loads. So, radial, ibig sabihin, umiikot yung pinaka-load natin, yung pinaka-weight. And then thrust loads naman, may mga tendency kasi na magkaroon tayo ng sudden surge in electricity. So, tatalon bigla yung pinaka-shafting natin. So, yung tinutukoy nating thrust loads. So, a pump with a misaligned shaft will stop working eventually. Thus, proper alignment of the shaft is a must. So, sabihin, kinakailangan ma-align natin properly yung shafting by the means or use of the so-called bearings. So, meron tayong dalawang bearing na makikita. You have the so-called smaller bearing and then you have the so-called larger bearing. So, yung bearings na to, pwede siyang ball type, roller type, slip type, as well as truss bearing type of bearings. So, as for the bearing types na ginagamit natin, magamit tayo dito ng roller type, which is to be found on the rear side. Slip type of bearing, so pag sinabi natin slip type, dismountable, yung pinaka-outer ring compared to sa inner part or inner ring. So, makikita din natin siya at the back side or rear side. And then, meron tayong tinatawag na ball type. So, meron tayong parang bulitis dito. So, kailan ginagamit yung ball type? Ang ball type is pwede siyang gamitin as the rear as well as front bearing. Then, last one is meron tayong tinatawag na truss type, which could be in the form of a roller or that of a ball bearing. So, ito is normally makikita lamang natin sa rear side. Yan. So, ito yung mga bearing types na gagamitin natin to properly align yung shaft natin inside the centrifugal pump. Now, the two mentioned bearings have their designated locations. So, as for the front bearing na makikita natin siya dito, it is considered to be the smaller bearing. So, makikita natin siya nearest to the pump impeller portion. And then the other bearing, we have the so-called rear bearing. Ito naman yung bearing na makikita natin at the backside or closest to the shaft coupling or electric motor portion. So, yung rear bearing is one bearing or larger bearing that is farthest from the impeller but nearest to the shaft coupling or electric motor portion. And then, yung front bearing naman is what we call the smaller bearing, which is located nearest the impeller portion but is located farthest to the shaft coupling or electric motor portion. So, next is we have the so-called O-ring, which is actually used in tandem with bearings or debearing. So, yung O-ring is a simple sealing device that is usually made from a wear-resistant but not easy to degrade rubber, so resembling the shape of a letter O. Hence, yung term on tawag sa kanya as O-ring. So, yung part na to actually provides a positive sealing action or effect, meaning dahil positive sealing action, there is no possibility of leak taking place at all. So it actually prevents the lubricating oil from the inside of the oil chamber from seeping out or leaking out. So ito yung tinutukoy nating O-ring. So ito yung nagpe-prevent doon sa pagtagas ng langis natin outside the oil chamber. So another is the so-called circlip. So yung circlip natin, which is ito, is another mechanical fastener which is used to hold the bearings rigidly in place with respect to the shaft and then inner surface of the frame. So yung clip na to is actually rigid enough to prevent possible slippage but not rigid enough to be disassembled. So sabihin, pwede siyang tanggalin o i-remove easily. So para matanggal natin siya na walang kahirap-hirap, gumagamit tayo ng tinatawag nating circlip plier, which is ito. So papasok natin yung pinaka-tip, yung pinakadulong tip, dalawang dulong tip ng circlip plier dito sa dalawang holes. And then once i-press natin yung pinaka-handle niyan, ang tendency nito is ito. So pag bumuka to, ito na ngayon yung time para matanggal natin yung circlip sa pagkakamount dito sa tinutukoy nating shafting. So ang next centrifugal pump part natin is what we call the frame. So ang frame natin is completely different from the so-called casing. Yung casing kasi is like a cover for the impeller which is located usually in front. Tapos yung frame naman, ito naman is usually located at the back side of the centrifugal pump. So ito yung tinutukoy nating frame, whereas ito namang part located on the left side, ito yung tinutukoy nating frame. So yung frame, maraming tayong makikita on the inside. So ano nang possibly pwede natin makita? Makikita natin yung pinaka-shafting, yung tinutukoy nating bearing, then yung tinutukoy nating circlip, as well as oil seals. So inside such frame is what we call the oil seal. So ito yung oil seal natin. So ang oil seal is considered to be a machine component that is actually made from hard rubber, a garter spring, and then an asphyxiating internal ring. Ito. So which is also made from hard rubber. So yung side ng garter spring, ito dapat yung nakaharap do sa mismo pinaka-lubricating oil. Kasi kinakailangan din natin ng lubricating oil para hindi mag-corrode yung tinutukoy nating garter spring that is actually made from metal. So itong piece na to actually serves as the sealing point para hindi tumagas o mag-seep out yung tinutukoy nating lubricating oil o lubricant for the two bearings inside the frame. So ito yung tinutukoy natin oil seal. Ito yung kulay black. Yan. So ito yung oil chamber kung saan makikita natin yung lubricating oil from the inside. Next is we have the so-called oil chamber. So ito yung oil chamber natin, yung voided space or open space. So where the lubricating oil necessary for the cooling of bearing is actually stored or are to be located. So dito sa tinutukoy nating oil chamber, meron tayong makikita dalawang bolt holes. So bolt hole at the top and then another bolt hole at the bottom. So kada hole na yan, meron silang designated purposes. So, ano ba yung hole natin located at the top, which is numbered as number 2. So, yung tinutukoy nating oil chamber bolt is a bolt located at the topmost portion that actually allows the entry of fresh lubricating oil, replacing the old worn-out lubricating oil inside. So, dito tayo maglalagay ng pinabagong quantity of lubricating oil. Whereas, yung hole naman, o yung hole naman, nalalagyan din natin ng bolt. Ang tawag naman natin dito is what we call the oil drain bolt na makikita natin at the bottommost portion. So, it is actually a bolt that allows the discharge of used or contaminated oil which is located at the bottommost portion. So, ito yung number 1. Then, meron tayong tinatawag na sightless, which is actually ito siya, which is considered to be a transparent circular glass usually of 1 inch diameter, so with either a red or green dot at the middle. So, yung dot na makikita natin at the middle, ito yung parang pinaka-reference point natin to check on the proper amount of lubricating oil inside the oil chamber. So, itong sight glass na to is apparently the portion where you could actually take a look at inside of the oil chamber to verify if nasa tamang proper level ba yung oil lubricant natin, which should always be located halfway. Kaya yun din yung reason kung bakit yung pinaka-dot natin is located at the centermost portion. So it indicates that the proper oil lubrication natin should be located or should be midway or halfway lamang. Yan. So another one is you have the so-called oil replenishing glass. So it is another frame part where replenishments of lubricating oil could be if the level of oil lubricant inside such oil chamber is below halfway. So kung kakaunti lang na may diferensya ng tinutukoy nating oil level from the inside, dito tayo magkakaroon ng replenishments. Hence the term oil replenishing glass. So, para lamang siyang inverted glass with threads at the tip. So, threaded siya. So, minamount natin siya dito sa threaded pipe or portion natin dito. So, last of the frame part is the so-called rear bearing cap, which is considered to be a cover at the backside of the centrifugal pump to hold off the lubricating oil from the chamber from seeping out or leaking out. So, ito, nakamount siya dito sa pinakadulo niya, preventing the lubricating oil from going this possible direction. So, parang pinaka-stopper. Yan. So, another centrifugal pump sacrificial part is yung tinutukoy nating wearing ring. So, para siyang sing-sing. So, this is 3 out of the 4 sacrificial pump parts na na-discuss ko so far. So, ano ba yung purpose niya? So, this one actually keeps the impeller surface from abrasion. Abrasion is gas-gas, saving the impeller from damage, and then keeping to itself the impeller, the abrasion damage. So, instead na masira natin yung impeller, ang sisirain natin dito is yung tinutukoy nating wearing ring. So, again, since ito is considered to be another pump sacrificial part, again, it is made from a less stronger material than the one that it is actually protecting. So, mas matibay yung pinaka-impeller natin as compared sa tinutukoy nating wearing ring. So, another design purpose niya is that it keeps internal recirculation of the fluid down to a minimum. So, internal recirculation affects pump performance in that the desired output is not met. So, pag sinabi natin internal recirculation, nagtatagal ng bahagya yung liquid natin instead of being discharged to the outside. So, meaning, yung expected output natin is not met properly. So, sabihin, ang downside nito is pagka meron tayong internal recirculation, bumababa yung output. So, eventually, pag bumababa yung output, bumababa din tinutukoy nating pump efficiency. Now, yung dami ng wearing rings to be used in a centrifugal pump is dependent upon the size of the centrifugal pump itself. Kapag medyo malaki yung centrifugal pump natin, it requires the use of 2 wearing rings. So, itong nakikita natin pictures is a large centrifugal pump. Hence, it makes use of 2 wearing rings. So, in case naman na we have a smaller centrifugal pump, 1 wearing ring is enough. So, yung last sacrificial centrifugal pump natin, 4 out of 4, is yung tinutukoy nating wearing plate. So, yung paggamit nito is totally dependent upon the type of impeller. So, in cases na yung centrifugal pump natin makes use of an open type of impeller, as shown in this current configuration, then required tayong gumamit ng wearing plate. So, gumagamit tayo ng wearing plate mainly to protect the impeller from damage due to abrasion as well as keep internal recirculation down to a minimum. So, same purpose siya para doon sa tukoy nating wearing ring. Pero yung isa is ring, ito naman is actually. So, next centrifugal part is the so-called shaft coupling. which is another power transmitting element that always exists in pair. So, dalawahan siya palagi. So, isang side, doon sa pinaka-driver side. Isang side naman is doon sa driven side. So, ito yung driver side. Ito naman yung tinutukoy nating driven side. So, ano yung purpose ng shaft coupling? It actually connects the driver shaft to the driven shaft. As in, using a single pair of shafts is actually not advisable. So, hindi advisable na gumamit tayo ng single shaft. Supposedly, medyo malaki assembly natin ng electric motor as well as centrifugal pump. Kasi, may mga cases na hindi naman sabay masisira yung electric motor as well as centrifugal pump. So, in that case, there is a need para ma-isolate natin isang part na sira. So, in that case, kinakailangan gumamit tayo ng shaft coupling. Pero in case naman ng assembly natin ng electric motor saka centrifugal pump, medyo may kaalitan, hindi naman advisable na gumamit tayo ng shaft coupling. So, magamit tayo ng shaft coupling to isolate o to dislodge isang part na sira or kinakailangang i-repair o i-maintain. So, shaft couplings are actually available in rigid and then flexible types. So, kung wala tayong concern regarding sa alignment ng shafting or meron tayong tinatawag na perfect alignment, yung paggamit natin ng tinatawag nating rigid coupling is enough. Pero kung meron tayong some sort or small degree of misalignment, dito tayo gumagamit ng tinatawag nating flexible coupling. So, yung flexible coupling, kung titignan natin, ito yung meron pa nakasandwich na flexible material. So, kung meron mga sort of misalignment, so i-adjust nung tinutukoy nating flexible material found in between the two halves of the shaft coupling. So, yan. So, yun ang purpose na tinutukoy nating flexible coupling. So, ito yung flexible coupling. Ito naman tinutukoy nating rigid coupling. So, another one is you have the so-called shaft coupling housing. So, since ang centrifugal pump natin is usually located in harsh environments sa labas, there is a need to protect the rotating shaft as well as coupling. Kasi nga, itong rotating shaft as well as coupling are to rotate at very, very high speeds. So, kung merong mahuhulog na sanga or any foreign material, ang tendency niya is pwede niya i-jam or pwede siya mag-cause ng disruptions do sa high-speed rotating device natin dito sa part na to. So, in that case, kinakailangan gamamit tayo ng shaft coupling housing. So, this one actually protects the rotating assembly from getting caught with a foreign object which might cause jamming issues. Now, to conclude my long PowerPoint discussion is the other parts or pieces that could be located or could be found in a centrifugal pump assembly. So, one is the so-called prime mover. So, called the driver. So, ito drives or powers up the driven or what we call the centrifugal pump unit. So, ito yung tinutukoy natin prime mover actually converts one form of energy into mechanical energy. So, itong prime mover na to, pwede siyang isang tinatawag sa ating isang electric motor. So, tina-convert niya yung electrical energy into mechanical energy. So, dito naman, pwede din na yung prime mover natin ay isang internal combustion engine. So, kinong-convert naman niya yung tinutukoy nating chemical energy possessed by the fuel into thermal energy, which is eventually converted into what we call mechanical energy. So, next is meron tayong tinatawag na machination where the heavy driver-driven assembly is actually mounted. Now, due to the heavy weight as well as vibrating characteristics of a centrifugal pump unit, there should be a proper machine foundation to be built. So, meron tayong mga actual sizes as well as meron tayong mga actual computations regarding sa proper ratio ng sand, gravel, and then cement as well as the proper amount of water with the size and then numbers of rebars also taken into proper consideration. So, ang objective natin dito sa paggamit ng machine foundation is to actually prevent the driver-driven assembly from sagging or falling from its previous mounting level. So, next natin is a part of the machine foundation. Ito yung tinutukoy nating anchor bolts. So, yung anchor bolt natin has an L-shaped configuration. So ito yung ways or means natin to secure the driver-driven equipment onto the machine foundation. So dito natin makikita yung tinutukoy nating anchor bolts. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 anchor bolts located at this side and on the other side na hindi kita dito sa corresponding configuration natin. So last one is we have the so-called channel bars or I-beam. So ito ay isang piece of metal that is actually embedded or nakabaon siya into the concrete of the machine foundation. So bali ito yung sasapo directly ng weight ng driver-driven assembly natin. So ang channel bar has a C cross-section as shown in the configuration and then is used for a less heavier load. Now, in case naman na medyo may kabigatan yung loading natin, dito na ngayon papasok yung tinutukoy nating I-beam. So, yung I-beam natin has a letter I configuration. So, ayan. So, this now concludes my presentation about the so-called pumps. So, again, thank you for your time in listening to this very long presentation of mine.